help them open up emotionally by doing this. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to make them emotionally open up towards you. So the first thing that I want to discuss is sometimes they're just going to be people that you just don't gel with, and no matter what, it's always going to be awkward and they're never going to open up to you emotionally because they just don't think that you two are compatible or they just don't like you enough. So that's something that can happen. But most of the time, if you are on a date with someone or you really like someone and you two are, kind of talking to each other and it's clear that there's something romantic going on and you are having a romantic connection with them, there are only a few little things that you can do to kind of tweak the situation to help them open up more emotionally. So I always think the best way to help someone open up to you emotionally, someone who can, let their guard down basically, the best way to do it is by, letting your guard down and being more opening up emotionally, not taking yourself too seriously, by simply being yourself. Because, it might be the case that you go on a date with someone who's shy. And, this has happened to me. When I first met my wife, she was shy. And she only started to open up to me more when she had gotten to know me more. And she realized that I didn't take myself too seriously, and therefore I was basically myself. And because I acted like myself, it facilitated her to also be more herself. And we can only really open up emotionally until we feel safe and comfortable enough to open up emotionally. And we can only do this if we feel safe. And if you don't feel safe and you don't feel comfortable opening up to someone, or they don't feel comfortable in opening up to you, it's because you're not quite there yet. You don't know each other well enough yet for that kind of thing to happen. So not taking yourself too seriously can really help. Being humorous can help. You opening up to them can help them open up to you. By being just your normal, silly, goofy self, that can also help as well. Get someone let their guard down, just being yourself. And again, not taking yourself too seriously. That kind of stuff really, really does help people open up to you emotionally. Another way, which I think is really, really powerful, that can help someone open up to you emotionally, is by finding something in common with them that you can geek out about. Now, it might be, something like a TV show that you both really love, or it could be a video game you both used to play as kids and you're kind of reminiscing on the nostalgia of that, or some other kind of craze or something that you two can really talk about and dive into. Finding that common ground can really, 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 really help and be very powerful. And that's one of the fastest ways, I think, to create rapport with people, by finding that thing that you both have in common, that you both can be little nerds about and talk about and geek out about. That kind of stuff can really, really help. I love it when I meet friends, for example, who, like the same kind of books I'm into, or have watched the same kind of things that I've watched and like the same things that I like. It's so easy to make friends with people and make connections with people who like the same things as you. It's so easy to talk to them because you can just talk about that kind of stuff for hours, and it just feels really nice. And it's the same for when you are with someone who you're romantically interested in. Always be trying to seek that common ground if you're at a point where it's kind of still awkward and you don't really have that much to talk about. So finding out, something you both have in common that you can both really get into and talk to a lot can really, really help. And if you're struggling with being a good conversationalist, if you're struggling with talking to people and not really knowing what to say, perhaps you are a little bit awkward, then I really recommend that you get the book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And the reason why I think that book is really good is because it does teach you some really great techniques on how to be a good conversationalist and someone who is really good at understanding people. And it's a great book. And another good thing about it is that you can probably find a really cheap version of it if you are not very wealthy. Perhaps you can't afford a book, right? You can't afford it, which may be the case. So if you can't afford the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, you can't buy a new version of it, Now, because the book is so old and it's been around for so long, if you go on eBay, you should be able to find a cheap version of it. Or if you go on Amazon, you might be able to find like a cheap secondhand version of it. I've even seen a few copies in charity shops around the UK. And also, if you really, really can't afford it at all, then you'll probably be able to find a copy of it in your local library. And there's also even as well, if obviously you've got an internet connection and a YouTube account, so look up videos on How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because there's been loads of people that have, including me, that have reviewed it, gone through over the basic things in it to help escalate, your growth if you do really want to know about it, but really can't get your hands on a copy of the book. There maybe someone even uploaded the audiobook to YouTube as well, like I don't know, but just search for that kind of information. There may even be like a subreddit on that book as well that you can look up, and I'm sure a lot of people are discussing it today. You can ask people if you have a Reddit account on that book and stuff like that. You can find out the information because it's been around for so long and it is such an old book, but the book is absolute timeless wisdom. And it's essential reading, I think. I think it's something that everybody should read on how to communicate with people. And it doesn't matter if those people are people that you know in business, like on a professional level, whether they're people that you want to make your friends, whether they're your family members, whether it is someone that you're attracted to. It's just really important information that I think should be taught in schools, basically. It's a really good book. It's not that hard to read, even though it was written over probably about 100 years ago now, or exactly 100 years. So I really recommend you get that book because it's absolutely timeless, in my opinion. But going back to my first point is that, sometimes if you just don't gel, then there's not really that much you can do about it. You shouldn't try to force things to happen, trying to force someone to open up to you emotionally if they just don't want to, right? I feel like these kinds of things do happen slowly, depending on the kind of person. If you are finding it really, really difficult to get someone to open up to you, it might be just best to cut your losses and to move on and to acknowledge that this person may never open up to you. And that's a good thing to kind of acknowledge anyway. That might be the case anyway. You might want to assume that this person is always going to be the way they're going to be. But generally, the issue usually is that you two just haven't spent enough time together and you haven't found enough in common for you to open up emotionally, for them to open up emotionally. So it just might be the case that you just need a little bit more time around them. They need a little bit more time around you to feel more comfortable around you. And if that's the case, then just arrange to meet up with them and carry on hanging out with them until they do start opening up to you emotionally. It's best obviously to do this kind of thing in person. It's really difficult for people to feel safe and comfortable, let's say like online. So if this is someone you're just chatting to on the internet, then it's probably going to be quite fruitless. That might not be the case like 100% of the time, but if you really want someone to open up to you emotionally and to trust you, then you need to hang out with them. You need to be around them. You need to go on dates with them if this is a romantic person, the person that you see romantically. So, you start hanging out with each other, start dating each other, and they will start to open up to you emotionally as long as things are going well and they like you. If you would like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.